Hello, good afternoon all. It's the 16th of June. I've got a massive video update for you. I've got many topics, lots of paper, so I'll stay on topic. The first thing that I'd like to discuss and bring up is today is the morning after the night before with regards to the TV show that was on Channel 4 10 p.m. featuring Chrissy Morris, Beat the Bailiffs. I'm not going to get involved with the activity that's happening online with regards to the comments, and we prepared for the influx of comments, members, attention, genuine and negative as well, shill and troll related. People are showing their true colours, it seems now, and coming out the woodwork with regards to the comments and the applied processes of which should be applied. So each to their own. Chrissy never goes out there and makes any false promises. He offers help when often these people have no help and their backs are against the wall and they're confused, they're scared, they're suffering from being trapped like an animal, basically. When you have children and a family and you can't financially keep up with the pace, you might suffer, burdens. You might have to go to food banks, you might have to compromise and make sacrifices. Ultimately, Big Barry comes knocking and you haven't got the money to pay. You try to take your goods, they serve you with documents and notices of which are in a secret language and are corrupt, often fake. People don't stick to the rule of law and due process. When I say people, I mean corporations and companies. So everybody's entitled to make their own decision. You use your own due diligence and you assess and you work out what in fact is best for you. So with regards to the programme, its quality, its overall effect and what it stands for, what it did, he wasn't given full run of the mainstream media at 10 p.m. It was obviously edited and structured in a way to protect the establishment, make the establishment look honourable, make the personality of Chrissy look a bit yobbish or boyish. He was a boxer. It showed you about his history, his family, showed you that he's got a good community spirit, that he cares, he's not in it for the money. It showed you his history, that it was in Response UK. They come along, and to be fair to you, they didn't really help matters by the comments, but again, it's a free world, each to their own. Everybody can pick their own processes. And it seems to me a lot of people are running around out there with their own processes and their own intended ways of action, and as soon as someone else comes along and says something, people are uncertain as to the way to go. There still isn't a defined, legitimate, authorised outlet, avenue, point for us to go and get genuine bona fide advice. GetOutOfDebtFree.org was a really good one at the time before it suffered its demise and ultimate amalgamation or acquisition, purchase and whatever has happened now. So yeah, it was a good thing what was on last night. It's the beginning of something new. Some man has tried to make a change and now people are pulling him down. A bit like what I'm used to. We tried to make a change. I've tried to make a change. My channel, the website, the group, and we get pulled down. That's just the way the world is. You'll get, pulled down with whatever you do. Now, you guys need to ask yourselves, the people that are doing the negative criticism, the pulling down and the alternative method avenue, you're advising of what should be done or how to do it, and he shouldn't be doing it, or he's making people in a worse off position, or you actually agree with it and you support him. Notice I left that bit till last because that's the minority, unfortunately, the supporters. Have your own thoughts, do your own mission. This is the problem with us. We all are too quick to jump on the bandwagon and criticise other people for their efforts and what they're doing, but what actually are you doing on an individual basis yourself? What are you contributing? What can you offer other than criticism and negative comments? Can you offer any resolution to any issues? Can you offer any solutions? Can you offer anything that may be positive to use for the cause? So yeah, we understand what the mainstream media are about. We understand that they're controlled, much like the BBC and its mainstream narrative there. They are the mouthpiece of the country, so to speak, and what comes out of that media outlet's mouth and through its mainstream tentacles that it has is often something to be questioned. It's not always, it's nothing news. The news is, what did I read from a member in the group today? The news is made up. That's the news. It's true. I think it was from someone called Warren. It may be. Bless you. So yeah, we are not happy about the fact that there was a captain on there last night on the show, and the police constable officer, you know, he said to this guy, what do you mean you're a captain? A captain of what? And he said, of the naval. And the police officer said, oh, the policy enforcer, constable, whichever capacity he was operating in, said to the captain, the naval captain, and what do your powers have here on the land? And he's like, the same as yours do. And he didn't believe him. So it's down to authority and jurisdiction. Who has the alleged authority and jurisdiction, and how do they have it? This is what we question. Do they have the documentation to back this up? Is it done legally and lawfully? Often you'll find it's not done legally, which brings me on to the next topic. Let me think what else was mentioned. So, not the next topic. The captain on the show was good. Chrissy saying that he was a lord and who he was. They mentioned that he is not the only one with an extravagant title on the show. They didn't really go into any depth of anything. They kind of glossed over everything. But on the whole, I think it was a good presentation, but it didn't have the full impact of what it could have had. But this was the first show of its kind, really. So this is groundbreaking history in the making. So maybe there'll be some follow-up shows. Maybe there'll be some avenues of which can be explored with the mainstream media. Maybe there won't be. Maybe it'll be another door shut. But he will get some exposure from this. More people are aware of the systems and how we roll, what we do. Some people might have got woken up a bit to ask questions and look at the authority. Why do the bailiffs and the alleged bailiffs, aka debt collectors, disappear when there's more people? If they've got the authority, you'd think they'd call for backup and not, you know, disappear, hightail it out of there. So yeah. The next topic. The Universal Postal Union, speaking of titles and extravagant titles and strange things that we're not, well, the people out there that are waking up or the new members won't be accustomed to hearing. Universal Postal Union, being the postmaster, looking at what authority the Universal Postal Union has and how it operates. It operates on this stuff, A4. These types of paper are military grade. They made up the gradings for A1, A2, A3, A4 military. Now when you next go to print a document, look at your print options. You've got legal, letter, A4, A3, statement, different types. So when you produce a notice on something this size and you fill it out in a certain way and you put stamps on it and you autograph it, not sign, you can make this document into what we believe would be into maritime jurisdiction. It would go into international jurisdiction and be recognised as an international document. So Postmaster and Universal Postal Union is something we've looked into and explored and started to. Some member in my group, our group should I say, our family, the group I created, Sovereign Paralegals, has decided to go with this information and code, and understands that the Universal Postal Union and this letter sending service we have has rules, and the courts that we have at the minute were set up to deal with any issues that we might get regarding fraud or forgery or people purporting to have alleged authority or jurisdiction and using this mailing system to do so. So he's had a letter turn up through his letterbox. He's looked at it and it's got Frank's Royal Mail stamp in the top right hand corner. Above the window where the name and address is, it says private and confidential, to be opened by the addressee only. He's looked on the internet and he's looked at Dun & Bradstreet and Company's House to see more information about this business, this corporation. The corporation and business is a public business, and it's operating in the public as a public company. He's then rang the post office inquiry line and asked if a public company can operate in the realms of private capacity. He's voiced his concerns about, he thinks that the PO box address is a non-contracting address and such other things to do with the Universal Postal Union's clauses, rules, codes of practice. And they've put him on to someone else in the Royal Mail postal, you know, inquiry line, the national fraud, and they've given him some references for this, because after somewhat having to explain the allegation of suspected crime with regards to the demand coming through the post and it only having a PO box return, no actual address, street name, number, house or anything was mentioned, just a PO box address. So for one reason or another, that's a crime. He's reported it. They've listened to him eventually. He's been told to get a crime reference number. He's got one. See the channel for the video. It's the last recent video next to this one posted regarding fraud and getting a crime reference number. See in the comments I've put all the issues that we've talked about regarding this and the crime and how we handle it and what we do. So more people pick up on this and start looking at the documentation and the letters and questioning stuff and researching and learning and using us as a bouncing board. So coming in the group and using the search box for previous posts and discussions, comments, and seeing what we've actually confirmed, denied, or you know, improved upon. Then we've got this guy Mark Christopher that's come in, someone's posted some videos about, and he's all about the postmaster system and the court system and the legal system, and he seems to have got a lot of good validated ideas. And he also talks about a lot of issues, to be fair. I'm not going to go through it now, but we've picked up on it and we like it. So this ties in with the talk we're having, the Sovereign Paralegal Seminar on the 29th of July. So we're going to get together somewhere in the Midlands. The venue will be announced nearer the date. We're going to have a full professional setup. We'll have an overhead projector, speakers, microphones. The event will be recorded and uploaded to the channel. We'll see about going live. We're getting some Skype set up, but probably going live and just seeing how long that's permitted to run. But it will be recorded, so those that can't make it, you'll get a full rundown, a breakdown, and a chance to see the video, hear the audio, discussions and topics that we raise and, you know, uncover. But there we're going to be playing such videos from our trusted and validated, respected alliance members, society members, family members. My channel contains over 3,000 video links on Indigo Child, so we know we've vetted quite a lot of the decent, genuine, honest, you know, integral videos that we can use for references, so we can show people actually on the screen what a bank gyro credit slip is, joint gyro credit, or a bank gyro credit. We can explain about executor, beneficiary and trustees, and we can use the visual aids with the overhead projector, videos, PowerPoint presentations to go through this, and to save us talking, it will split it up and make it a bit more interesting. So we will be showing other people's videos that are in the public domain on YouTube at the minute, and we will be going through the archive, and once we've watched them, we'll be then going through and putting the points raised, and we will be effectively streamlining all the notes and things that we've got regarding the laws, the codes, the practices, the processes, what's working, how it works, how to set it out, how to document it. We'll encourage other people to come forward that are experts in various fields, and we'll create some kind of a board, a network, a chain where we can have specialised people to go to, and we have these meetings, then we'll include them. We'll have specialised areas such as mortgages, common law, attachment of earnings, statute codes, canon law, trustee, executive, beneficiary, trust law. The reason why I didn't do the trust law video that I mentioned I was going to do shortly after Christmas, middle of the new year, beginning of the new year, is because if we do videos and we're not sure exactly of the applied processes, we can understand the notion of it and we understand it in theory, but the practical side, if it's not very practicable, then we won't release anything, or I won't make a video, or we won't really discuss the ins and outs of it, because until we know exactly what to do, there's no point actually bringing it, you know, into the public domain. But we are looking at let's have a look. We are looking at setting up a trust. I'll go into that in a minute. So the revolution will not be televised. Each and every one of your individual actions are helping to sort the revolution, to sort the the issues at hand out. So where you are thinking that, you know, such as the beat the bailiffs, we was expecting many and wonderful various things coming out of it, we are not there to, it's not there to bring down the whole system. It was there to talk about bailiffs and repossession and court orders and warrants and things like that. It wasn't there to talk about the common law system of England versus the legislation, Admiralty Maritime, the bulk handling of liability orders that are given in the de facto court systems when the council hold office or, you know, rent a room in a court and hold the bulk handling centre and process up to 500 liability orders for unpaid council tax in half an hour. That alone shows that no due consideration is given to each and every case. You know, we're not going to go through all this in this type of area, but the revolution won't be televised. You are learning, you are picking up on stuff. This guy that's come up with the Universal Postal Union, Postal Code, non-contracting address, crime, and issuing it with the local police and actually reporting it is the way forward. Get up, do something, act on it, check it out, ring up people, go through stuff, come in to see us, put comments and your queries on. I cannot handle all we're up to 1,400 members, I can't handle all the claims and posts and stuff that people are wanting at the minute. We need it to be self-governing, we need it to be managing itself, it needs to be strong. You guys need to be strong, not just as bodybuilders out there strong in the body. You need to be strong in the mind first, then strong in the body. If you're not strong in the mind, you can't represent anybody, anything, not represent, but you know what I mean. You are officially the administrator for your account, and once you're learning that you're the administrator or beneficiary executor, then things start to make sense. So you need to get strong and you need to start supporting each other, helping each other. There's 200 PDFs in the group in our files. I got a notification off Facebook telling me that I'd gone through to 25,000 likes of my posts in the last year to 2 years probably, since I've had this account that I've made up for the administration of sovereign paralegals. So if I've had 25,000 likes, that means that that's 25,000 posts that have been liked. Now that's happening, people are seeing stuff, people are picking up on stuff, people are sharing. We don't care about the shills and the trolls. They come onto the channel, they make the comments, but as I've said, that's life. We expect that, each to their own. It's a free world. We do what we believe is right. We operate under the divine consciousness of the Creator on a higher vibrational frequency, and we have the ability to comprehend and process and assimilate technical bits of history and information of which are so fragmented are not even anywhere remotely close to a picture or even an idea of what's going on. And over the years we've collected all the fragmented bits and we've started to bring them together in one place, and we've started to catalogue and index and reference and remember and record and then cross-examine and source. And what do you know? What do you know? We're damn close to bringing the whole house of cards down, and it is falling down. Hence the showing of the program last night. Theresa's amazing office, but she hasn't got power. We've got a hung parliament. England's in trouble. We as men need to sort this out. The womb men, the men of the water. We've got options to sort this out. We have got a voice. You don't need to go and register your voice on the electoral register. You don't need to go to a polling station and give them your opinion. You can use your inherent collective birthright, your claim of right, your God-given creator rights, and you can act upon them without having necessarily to submit or to apply or to register or to represent. So yeah, if we set up a trust, we're looking at transferring all property into said trust, like the immortal words of the great evil Mr. David Rockefeller. He did say he doesn't care for owning anything, he just wants control of it. Once he gets control of it, he can move it about. If he doesn't own anything, he can't lose anything, he can't be held liable for anything. So what they do is they put property into trusts. We're looking at something to do with the birth certificate and getting an affidavit put with it, getting it notarized, maybe a apostille stamp. We're looking at doing stuff with the certificate and getting documentation classifying us as private individuals, also known as a certificate of live birth instead of a birth certificate, because that obviously evidences what? A stillborn. We're going to look up the Minnesota Rule 220, certificate of titles. It is US international based, but that's all the court systems are, international based. People keep saying, oh, unified commercial codes, they only apply to America. It's all international and unified. Chirpy, hello. Sorry, my bird's making a bit of noise. So yeah, it is all international. The 3 obelisks that they've put all around the world, in Washington, in Italy, by the Vatican, and in London, in Greater London. Those are the obelisks that's been put up. They span the waters across the continents. There's a brass strip on them all, about 2 foot high. And that's where a denotation of the watermark and where it would be on the land. So yeah, we are looking at international. Same with the Universal Postal Union. This stuff is international. Every country that uses the letter facility of sending through the post with the stamp system on it, signed into an international treaty to abide by the terms and conditions. I'm not going to mention about that form. Then what we need to do is make our own trust. We're looking at three tier trusts and trusts. And we're looking at outer trust, inner trust, beneficiaries of our individual inner trusts, a 3-stage trust. We can replicate it lots. We're looking into how to get them set up. This is what we'll be discussing on July the 29th in depth. We've looked at setting up LLPs, limited liability partnerships. We've looked at giving public notices and how we would write and express this. We can be recorded, not registered, so we have standing in the legal world and not just seen as some, makeshift, non-serious trust. We've looked at collapsing the trust and the, the Sestu KV, the birth certificate, the bonded trust. If you collapse that, you kill off your person. That's civil death. So really, you can only administer it correctly. That's why we're not collapsing it, dissolving it, sending it back. It might sound good at first. In reality, you've deleted everything. You have no bank account, no ID, no job, no access to what you've collapsed. The Treasury will either allow one of 2 options. If the process is done right, a limited access and an unlimited access, apparently limited to around about 10,000 a month. Unlimited is, well, unlimited. Collapsing the trust, yeah, we'll be civil death. We can't do that in today's world. We depend on a system of money out there. So the system of money that we depend on out there it's a monetary based system, so we can't, our national insurance numbers are issued by the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. We're in an international commerce market and we're governed by this. So by using it by default, the old cap's name, the money, the commerce, we need to express the trust, correcting our statuses and removing liabilities placed on us under the assumption of a trustee. That's what some people have done with demands made upon their person, such as council tax. What is expressing the trust? When you verbalise or write down the trust declaration and other documents outlining how the trust will operate, that's expressing the trust. Your trust grants you rights of use. You are the one that you trust. You put a notification in the local newspaper of the bornness of your trust, a public notice, yeah? Remember, the government can't assign something they took consent of by fraud, plus an ovation is required, hence three autographs, 2 for an agreement and just 1 for a deed. We don't own the birth certificate, we never did. How to live in the private, we need to perfect the gift. This is a comment made in my group by someone who seems to know a bit about military, and we've mentioned the military issue before and the fact we're classed as combatants and at war with the country because you've deserted your post. The thing is with this game, you can't just learn one area, because you learn one area and you need to learn the other area before it and the implied meanings of that and the history and the culture and the connectivity of that law, statute, act and the time and the language. Before you can understand this, you pick up something and you get on with it, but then you need to immediately go and source 5 other different things, like all over the place in different areas of the realms of law or different jurisdictions or different courts, or look at the contrasting words and what year they were written and what the implied legal definitions and meanings are. It's all heavily fragmented, which is why it's so intricate and takes a lot of time. So you don't own anything. You need to perfect the gift. All military script to utilise the equity accrued reversionary interest within the estate to place into our private trust to settle public liabilities. Therefore, you will need to get all your military issued script, NI number, bank cards, driving license, et al. all authenticated to complete the deed. Equity does not, that's another thing, look at what equity is in itself. Equity does not perfect an imperfect gift. We would use an ecclesiastical body or society with their own court system for all public private notices. The ecclesiastical protection is 100% secure from outside federal UK Gov access. Only when the US military occupation is over will we have full access to reversionary interest as per Liber Code rules. Please read rules of LIEBER Code. We're still acting belligerent within part of the civitas by using legal instruments. As a belligerent combatant, you fall under the jurisdiction of the rules of the Trading Within the Enemy Act, which could end in a bad way for us. We've been asked about our usage of military issued script, fiat currency for instance. We use it under duress. How do we maintain the private status while trading in commerce? So then we've looked at these kindness credits and things like that, limited liability partnerships, we buy any debt. So I've been talking to a woman called Elizabeth Nolson that I still need to catch up with. There's so much going on in so many areas. It is absolutely chicken oriental. It's too much for one man to hold down. Incidentally, we've had admins retire in Sovereign Paralegals, one at the ripe old age of 70, so well done to Peter for that. One's taken a spell of ill health and had a heart attack. Another one's focusing on child protection and the missing children and how they go missing through being forced adoption, again, which was mentioned last night on Beat the Bailiffs, going into poverty, getting your house repossessed, going into temporary accommodation, getting evicted out of temporary accommodation, the parents not being offered anywhere to be housed and getting made homeless, the children of said parents, the property, the fruit of their loins getting handed to the government. The actual man on the telephone said, present your children, because they were going to take them off the parents and house them in foster care in the social state system, of which then, and all that at great expense to the taxpayer and at great emotional expense. This one is the most important, to the children and then the family, and for the sake of a few £100 arrears, which if they got a bit more time they could have paid off and saved the whole stress and duress of the situation. The system wants people to be on the street. The system wants people to have foreclosures and repossessions. The system wants to get its cut of the cake, of the money, of the bonded trust under mercantile law as the beneficiary and executor, making us the trustees. Well, it's not happening no more, and it's in plain and clear sight. We know the language, we know the legalese, we know the terms, we know the clauses, we know the codes, we've got the documents, we've got the PDFs. We're starting to turn stuff around, and it's happening at a rapid rate. We're not licensed to use legalese, we've never been to university, we've not been to law school, we're not part of the law society. None of us are Freemasons, disinformation agents, shills or trolls. We're genuine good souls banding together to create a new society, what's going to be the forefront and the light of what's happening around us on such an intricate, in-depth scale for thousands of years. And every which way you turn, there's an element of that tentacle in your life. So our sidetrack, see, it's just so easily done. We're going for an hour today, so we're halfway through. So, combatants, money, fiat currency, money laundering. There's no money. Money's not backed by anything. Look at the Gold Insolvency Act of 1933, was it? The 1930s, taking away the bullion from the banks when the central banks called in the debt. Then look at what happened with the birth certification, the Sestu KV, registration, licensing of the human, of the birth certification, of the live birth cert, and then of the birth certification itself. Look at the, it's just disgusting. Banks, I want to talk about money and things. 100% correct when I said that banks are acting under the presumptions towards their customers. The presumption is that they are the ones lending the money to them. We think the banks lend the money to us, but no, it's different. It's just like the police officers that are always acting under the presumption that we are driving our vehicles, which is defined as a for-profit activity. Yeah, they presume. They knock on. Are you the driver? No, I'm not. I am the traveller. Literally no different. What happens when a bank is, when the promissory note is deposited, a cash value is always zero value. Electronic credit based asset is created as a book of entry deposit under the name of the customer who made the promissory note, as only the customer holds all the credit. Simultaneously, on the right hand side of that entry, a liability equal to the credit amount is created. This liability also belongs to the customer, literally, just like a regular checking account, and represents money that is owed to the customer by the bank. The word money is loosely used, as we all know there has been no money for a few hundred years now. Search the Act, Gold Insolvency. So what actually just happened is the person gave or loaned that bank the money. The customer has both an asset and a liability sitting in that bank that belongs to them. The bank never loans anything. It has always been us, the customers, that loan the bank the money. Literally, this has been the case all the time. It's even spelled out in the name of the book entry itself. It comes down as a credit on the left hand side. Why else would it be called a credit? Because we are the creditors, folks, and have been. The banks never gave anything. They simply typed in their computers a book entry deposit, and the money was then in the system. Much like when you get a mortgage and you sign for it, the money is created upon your signature. It is made out of thin air. It is called fractal reserve banking, and it is all based on trust law and equity. Promises to pay, drawee, drawer, trustees, beneficiaries, executor, power of attorney. It's deep, dark, biblical, Babylon. And I'm speaking Babel to you right now. The language I speak I thought was Anglo-English. Turns out it's Babel. Thank you, Mark Christopher, for that. So yeah, when they made us bankrupt, we became the debtors and the creditors of the municipal services and the financial national debt and things that are connected with our claim of right and birthright. So this is one of the main reasons we are over trillions and trillions in debt. No one has known or obviously even cared to look deeper into how the loan, bank, money, fiat currency works. So money and checks that you get in a checkbook, I would say, are negotiable blank instruments, and you either promise or negotiate and offer payment through various forms. That would be the credit slips that were issued through the Federal Reserve as 5, 10, 20, 50, £100 notes and coins. They are instrumentation that have no value themselves because they're on paper. As I've said, the Gold Insolvency Act has taken away the bullion that backed that money, so England's got no backing to give to pay that money, such as Gaddafi making gold coins for his country, for Libya, before we went to war and killed him in the name of freedom. I believe he was going to give out a currency that was gold coins. So if the inflation ever did this with the bank stock market's high frequency trading tricks, then obviously the people would get the gold coins and go, we've got gold. It don't matter that this is worth now only 500 gold coins is a loaf of bread because inflation shot through the roof because of the bankers' tricks. They've still got gold coins, so they go and trade that elsewhere for other stuff to get back the food. If you've only got a coin that's made of aluminium or copper and you need to buy that bread, then it's going to be you're going to have to work a lot harder. So this is how this money system works. Look at the Wizard of Oz and the Tin Man, the tax identification number, and the tax loopholes and stuff that they have for the businesses, and Jersey being a tax haven. Mental. I'm not going to read your limited liability and trust law and we buy any debt and what Elizabeth Nolson's doing, but I will mention it on here, and you are free to look at it on Facebook, and you can come into Sovereign Paralegals and see what we've talked about. It's still going to be heavily discussed at the meeting on the 29th in the Midlands. I've got a lot here. I'm going to paraphrase something about common law. When people say to me, Dave, what do you mean by natural law? Natural law, I'll give you one example. One of the best examples I can think of natural, divine, honourable, righteous, divine things you can do. When you get married, you need a license to get married, and you get married under a church by a member of a Roman Catholic organisation. Such was one of the popular ones. There are other ones, like people get married at a mosque without a license with an imam. People get married by ship's captains and stuff. People have hand fasting, and humanists perform the ceremony. But the traditional Roman Catholic or church-based wedding with a license, or me and my lady, my partner, no, not partner, because partner's business related. You have an unhealthy interest in that lady, and I assure you my intentions are honourable. My interest in that lady is to make her my partner. Mind your own business. See, these are all words that are connected in with and this is thanks to Mark Christopher that this has just clicked into place. So the words we use and the way that we use them and the implied meanings and the definitions and the context are very important. So my wife would be my mate in natural law, and I would want to join with my mate for a lifelong unionship. Yes, so I would be unified with her under natural law, and I would make a divine promise to her from my soul to her soul, and we would make promises under God. Yeah, that's my witness, but not God, not government ordinance defence or dog spelt backwards. That in itself is wrong. And don't try and say the Lord's name or whatever else, you know, Dharma, Brahma, Krishna, Vishnu, Yahweh, Jehovah, Imhotep, Amen, Amen, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter the name. I just say the Creator, keep it loosely termed as that. So common law, natural law. A man is hungry and he fishes, he catches some fish, he lives out in the sticks in a hut, he doesn't pay any bills, he lives there and he doesn't, you know, bother anybody. He's got his own land and he goes on a river and he fishes. Somebody says to him, who may be like from the government or say or the council, "You're fishing in that lake, have you got a licence, pal?" "No, I haven't. I live here on the land. And these are God's fishes that I got given, or the Creator's fishes, and I'm hungry, so I will fish and eat them." Why does he need a licence? He doesn't need permission. If we're all in the church system, you are under God, the Creator, we call it. And in the law system, you swear on a Bible in the court should you choose to take the stand and contract under the state-owned name. So the Bible that you swear on, albeit a copyrighted version, the Crown copyright of the King James Bible, that says in there, in the scriptures, in the passages, in the Gospels, what your entitlement and rights are. God-given, inalienable birthrights, inherent rights. So why would you then give them away to receive them back under licence? Don't give them away in the first place. And that's the non-disclosed contracts via all this canon and contracts and mercantile and executor beneficiary that we're talking about, that nobody knows about, that they think they need to go to uni to go and learn, when really you don't. Because anybody can pick it up and do this. Common law, the part of the law of England formulated, developed and administered by the old common law courts, based originally on the common customs of the country and unwritten. It is opposed to the equity, the body of rules administered by the Crown of the Court of Chancery. 2. Statute law, the law laid down by Acts of Parliament. 2. Special law, the law administered by special courts, such as ecclesiastical law and the law merchant. Mer means sea and chant means, I forget now, but sea, mermaid, of the sea maid, merchant, of the sea banker. And the civil law, the law of Rome, Roman civil law, guilty until proven innocent. We've got that at the minute in our country, what you call the United Kingdom. I'm in England, I'm Anglo womb man, and I'm an official inhabitant of the landmass England, as my belief and my stance and status, unless I choose to contract out of that with disclosed knowingly. Maybe not with assumed liability. It is the common sense of the community, crystallised and formulated by our forefathers. It is not local law, nor the result of legislation. The word lawfully specifically applies to actions or omissions which are just and fair, whereas the word legal refers specifically to actions or omissions which are in accord with the legislation, be they just and fair or otherwise. While there is an overlap between the two to the extent that the legislation has been codified correctly in accordance with what is just, the dichotomy arises because this is not always the case. Logically and reasonably, where the two concur, the legal is unnecessary and utterly irrelevant because the situation is covered by lawful anyway. Same as if you've got a legal issue and you can see that a human rights point, article whatever, Article 6 human rights would get you out of it, you'd use that would trump the legal situation. The lawful would trump the legal, it's saying there. A good example might be given in the enforcement legislation forcing a human being to pay for a service which the human being does not use. This example is most frequently incarnate in the enforcement of taxation, where the taxes have neither contracted for the services so provided by, nor use the services, yet are unjustly but legally forced to labour in order to pay for services they neither want or use. Council tax. They are, in point of fact, three distinct categories for the usage of the word law, and each of these categories has three major components: laws of nature, including laws of physics, chemistry, thermodynamics, etc., i.e. lawful, the creator's, natural, unified, codes, gravity, magnetic, law of attraction, universal. See, we've gone one further now, we've gone deep. When people pray and they pray to God, the big man on the cloud, or whoever you think it is, you're in fact using quantum mechanics. You're employing the law of attraction and the power of intent to pray to your designated deity up there, that you believe is watching over you, and you have to pray to X amount of times a day, and do this and not eat then, and pick this up and go there at certain times, and make sure you do that, and make sure that you have a license to get that, to go there, to marry that mate that you so choose under the authority and jurisdiction of. Just stop. Just back it up. Back it up. You can find out, and you can put this to the test, the law of attraction and the power of intent. The rice water experiment is good for this. Shows you that you, the mind, have the power to affect the outside. By you praying to your God, you are in fact using the law of attraction and the power of intent. And if you keep doing that, your life will change. But you will think it's because of your religion, when in fact you're using natural laws of nature. So mankind does not make them. Mankind observes them and their effects, then enumerates and evaluates them. In most cases, being able to devise mathematical formula to express them, utilize them, and inter-utilize, i.e. apply them. Examples: the law of gravity, Newton's laws, Boyle's law, Maxwell's law, Charles' law, Ohm's law, Murphy's law, and Sod's law, because I know them better than anybody. They apply universally and unilaterally, without fear or favour. No courts are required. There is no penalty for breaking them because they cannot be broken. The law of karma, my friends. Karma is with you always. This is the yin and the yang, the action and reaction. Reality is an illusion. Isaac Newton. So, the common law. Mankind does make them based entirely on common sense, thus they are universal and unchangeable. What you know to be right, fair, honourable and just is what I know to be right, fair, honourable and just, and will always be so. They are applied by courts and called courts de jure, courts of justice. At the minute we've got a de facto government, a hung parliament, unelected prime minister in the Houses of 10 that has no power, and we've got courts, de facto courts, yeah? And we're looking for courts de jure. A serious attempt at fairness of application is by means of a jury of 12. There is always a penalty for breaking them because they can be broken if one is prepared to accept the consequences. Common law, you must always pay. We don't ever say that if anybody breaks common law, there's a way out of it. You must make amends, you must give remedy, you must pay for your action. We stand by that implicitly, wholeheartedly. That is our ethos, that is the sovereign way, that is the only way. Next one, the next third part of the law category, the legislated rules of society, statutes, legislation and act. Yes. Legal. Mankind does make them. Mankind changes them in accordance with its own desires, wishes, needs, etc. Mankind can wipe them away, repeal them at the stroke of a pen. They are applied by courts, called courts de facto, courts of arbitration or tribunals, etc. They are not applied equally because they are always dependent on judgment. It is often said there is one law for the rich and one law for the poor. Yes, brothers and sisters, I'm hearing that. There is always a penalty for breaking them because they can be broken if one is prepared to accept the consequences, and that's what we're all about. We can see that 2a is the same. 2a, mankind does make them based entirely on common sense. I won't go through that. This was taken by one of my group members, and there's more of it. There's more. I'm going on 43 minutes, so I'll give you all these documents at the meet when we set up on the 29th. The matrix of your legal person, again, not my words, but collected in the family, in the group, and it's bloody amazing. You can't buy this stuff. You can't find it. Legitimate, genuine information that's this kosher and good anywhere else in the world. This is pioneering, much like what Morris is doing. We're pioneering. We're going different ways. We're being we're getting out the box. We are putting our souls where our mouths are, and we are presenting, and we are special appearancing, and we are going out there, and we are taking the flag. We are taking the knives in the back, and we're carrying on like soul dyers, soldiers of peace, justice, light and equality is paramount. Our children are in danger. The children are the reason for this. The matrix of your legal person. Trustee is a slave in this world. Do not be a trustee. Legal controllers strip our rights in courts and roadsides using a trick called legal presumption. Look at the 12 presumptions of law. Again, all in the group. That we operate through a kind of status called trustee to the fictional legal person. Our lass is back soon. It's the all caps name in the birth certificate or the birth certificate. Some people's birth certificates are not all caps, don't worry, it's still the same. This is the fiction or the legal person. It is not Freeman stuff, this is the real life that you live in called the Matrix, alright? It's a legal personality, it's your straw man, it's your fiction, it's you're the administrator of or the executor and the beneficiary. The court sometimes will ask you if you are the agent of. No, you're not. So the legal person is used to represent a trust that was. It's like the monetary notes that I said. They are negotiable blank instruments. Money and checks don't have value, but they do allow value to be added to other such commercial objects: cars, houses, tables, watches, phones, whatever you want to sell. Food, commerce. So you need negotiable instruments to pass hand for them to keep to go later to be the drawer, bank and stuff, promises and trusts and equity. Are you understanding? A penny's dropping. So the legal person is used to represent a trust that was initially granted in our name by our parents, created upon the registration of our birth, to provide access to our birthright, estate, claim of right, to facilitate legal commerce and contracting within the government, the ones that we control, that we appointed into alleged authority and jurisdiction and power. The problem is courts, cops, judges, government agencies, etc. use this presumption of inferior trustee status to turn rights into privileges and innocence into guilt, Roman civil law, and freedoms to obligations and duties, privileges. The solution is simply to rebut trustee status, and this is how government only ever holds legal title to anything, so they are the inferior trustee.